everybody. So you all should have already taken your Africa CFA number 4. It was posted on Schoology. It was about eight multiple choice questions, sorry, eight true false questions, I believe. It was over our behavioral sciences standard, which is Social Studies 7.14. Examine what causes inequalities and how they exist within a society. So you needed to be able to score a 5 or higher, so 5, 6, 7, or 8, in order to be considered passing. When I get home from jury duty today, I will take a look at everyone's CFAs and I will email you if you were not passing, so we can kind of go back and forth and I can explain what you missed, okay? So again, you all should have received your scores. So if you received a 4, 3, 2, or 1, please be checking your emails tonight or during Tiger Time tomorrow uh, to kind of complete some relearning work with that, okay? So if I were at school today, I would have explained to you all more what the "if I were mayor" post on Schoology is. So I can kind of show you here. If you were to look in your World Studies uh, folder on Schoology, right? Some of you pointed this out down here on Monday when I posted it, and I told you we'll go over it later this week. Well, I did not think that I was going to get selected for jury duty, but here we are. So I'm just going to explain it to you this way. So every year, the Iowa League of Cities puts on an essay competition that is open to seventh grade students across the entire state of Iowa, and it's called If I Were Mayor. So basically, what it is that you are going to, or you would write an essay, and in it, you would explain everything that you would do or everything that you'd want to accomplish if you were able to be mayor for one day. So if you're able to be mayor, what would you do for the city of Cedar Falls? So essays are due December 12th, so you have over a month. You have like 6 weeks to work on this, including Thanksgiving break. There's a couple requirements in there that you have to have, things like your name, your address, etc. The essay is a minimum of 250 words, which is about a page or so, or half a page, I should say. Sorry, it's about half a page. And it cannot exceed one page. So this essay, in air quotes, is really more kind of like a short response or written response between half a page and a page, explaining with if I were a mayor, I would dot 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 dot. And so some incentives to maybe influence your decision if you want to participate in this essay competition. The top 8 entries in our school district. So again, this is only open for seventh graders, but that's seventh graders from both Pete and Holmes. Um, we have talked to Mayor Rob Green, and he has agreed that the top 8 essays from the Cedar Falls School District will get to uh, go to City Hall and they will get to be a mayor for a day or city councilors for a day. So you get to leave a day of school to do that. It'd be a very cool experience. On top of that, each winner in the state's congressional district, so that's not just our school district, but the neighboring school districts as well. So if you win in the neighboring school districts, you would receive a $250 college scholarship. So I know college is kind of far away, but always good to be keeping that in mind and kind of working for those things. If you write the top essay in the entire state of Iowa, like you're the grand prize winner of all seventh graders in the state who participated in this, you would receive a $500 college scholarship, and you would also be recognized at a special ceremony in Des Moines next winter. So I think it's next December. So a lot of cool opportunities here, a lot of different experiences for you to meet our mayor, meet some city council people, um, potentially even earn some scholarship money. So hopefully those are some things that may influence your decision in whether or not you decide you want to participate. So if you are listening to this and you're like, oh, yes, this sounds interesting. I want to write an essay. I want to submit something in this competition. Mr. Reed and I will be offering it as a Tiger Time enrichment on Thursdays. And so anybody out of any of my classes and Mr. Reed's classes will come to my room Thursdays during Tiger Time, and we can work together to help you come up with ideas, help you write your essays. I know that Mrs. Vanderweel and Mrs. Benitez have reached out to us both, and they said they would be more than happy to proofread your essays for any grammatical errors or such. Um, Also, an extra really cool added bonus to this is that the Cedar Falls mayor, Mr. Rob Green, said that he is going to join us on one of those Thursdays to help you prepare. So that's a really cool, unique experience that not everybody in the district or even Holmes gets to experience. Okay, so if this does interest you, like I said, we're going to meet during Tiger Time on Thursdays, and this starts next week. So not the day after tomorrow, or sorry, the not tomorrow, but next week. So November 10th, November 17th, and then we skip a week for Thanksgiving break, and then we would come back for the next two Thursdays afterwards. So again, if this does interest you, this is something that you want to do, you can click the link in the slideshow that's posted on Schoology, or if you want to take your phones or Chromebooks and scan this QR code, it's going to take you to a Google form to sign up. Um, in order to attend the enrichment on Tiger Times on Thursdays, you have to sign up. You're only allowed to come to work on your essays if you've signed up. Okay, so you have an entire week to sign up. Once I return from jury duty, feel free to ask me any questions about it. You can ask Mr. Reed questions, or Mrs. Vanderweel and Mrs. Benitez, like I said, are both very knowledgeable on this as well, so they would be good resources. Okay, so what you all are going to do today, now that you've taken the CFA and we've discussed the If I Were Mayor essay competition, to start to kind of transitioning into this review for your CSA on Friday. And yes, I am still planning on having you take the CSA on Friday, even if I'm not there, but I'll keep you posted on that. We are going to practice some hexagonal thinking. This may sound kind of confusing. It might sound kind of challenging, right? You're probably thinking, hexagons? We do that in math class. This isn't geometry. You're correct. It's not. Okay? This is just a way to try and make connections to the things that we've been talking about in Africa over the course of this unit. Like I said, to start in to reflect and review for your CSA on Friday. So, what exactly is hexagonal thinking? Like I said, it's a way of making connections. And so it's a way to make connections between topics, between ideas, different vocab words, and it's a visual way, so something that you can look at and you can see how all these different pieces kind of fit together in a puzzle. And so it's a very cool way, especially for those of you who are visual learners, that you might really like the way this works, and your brain is going to make these connections really easily. You're going to see how all these things are interrelated. And some of you, this may be a challenge for you, but I think it'll be interesting, and we're going to see how it goes. And I can't wait to hear all about it when I return. Okay. So before I just set you loose to work on this hexagonal thinking activity, I want to give you an example first, okay? So you'll see right here, I have my hexagon map, right? FYI, a hexagon is a shape that has 6 sides, okay? So here's all of our hexagons. And then over here on the right, you see I have a list of terms. What you're probably thinking is, what the heck? How are those related? Like, how do unicycles and Burger King, like, how do those relate to each other? Um, I will show you, right? So, in order to complete a hexagonal thinking map, what you're going to do is each of these words over here on this right column is its own text box. Okay, and so what you're going to do is you're going to just drag and drop it over onto one of the hexagons. So let's say I want to do wheels first. So I'm going to take the wheels and I'm going to drop it in, let's say, this box. Okay, so I have wheels. Now, what is one of the terms on this list that either connects to, is related to, maybe has wheels? A car has wheels, right? So then we need to put it over here onto another hexagon that is connected to this one, right? If we put it way the heck over here, that's not showing the connection, right? It's like 3 hexagons away, okay? So when you're dragging and dropping and you're trying to make connections between these terms on the list, your hexagons have to share at least one side, okay? So cars have wheels. What's something else that has wheels? A bike. A bike has wheels. So we're going to connect that over here, right? So now the bikes and the wheels, they share a side. So we know that those two things are connected. We can do the same thing with unicycles. So unicycles have wheels. So we're going to throw that over here and we're going to connect it, right? So right now we have 4 different hexagons that are kind of related to each other. Okay, here's now where it might get kind of confusing, right? Like horses. How do horses relate to anything that we have on our map so far? Well, one way that they may connect is that you can ride a bike. Some people also like to ride horses, right? Think of like horseback riding. So that's a connection that they share, right? So we're going to throw this down here. And so we're not going to put it in this box. Why would we not put it in this box? Well, horses and wheels, they don't really have anything in common. Horses and unicycles, you can maybe make that argument, right? That you ride unicycles, you ride horses. But for the purpose of this, it makes the most sense to put it in this box down here, right? That horses are something you can ride, just like how bikes are something you can ride. Okay, looking back at our terms list, what's another connection that we can make? Well, cows and horses are both farm animals. So let's drag and drop that over here. Let's try that, right? So horses and cows are both farm animals. So those two relate to each other. Something else that relates to each other. Hamburgers, right? Hamburgers are made from cows. So those two relate to each other. So we can have those two share a side. So boom, that works. Uh, then the order in which you do this doesn't really matter, right? Because we can easily make these connections. Burger King sells hamburgers and McDonald's. So you could either flip those around, right? McDonald's has hamburgers. These two are connected because they're both restaurants, what have you, right? So although it seemed like all of that huge list of terms over here were not related at all, right? Like unicycles and McDonald's. But when we talk about wheels and we talk about bikes, there are things that have wheels, bikes and horses, things that you can ride, horses and cows, farm animals, cows and hamburgers. You make hamburgers out of cows, and then you have restaurants that sell hamburgers, right? So all of these things seem super unrelated, but when you kind of fit them together in the different pieces of the puzzle, they're all related to each other, right? And so that was kind of a unique or interesting example to do this. And what you're going to do is you're going to be doing that with the terms for your Africa hexagon map, okay? Uh, you'll see that a part of the assignment today that you're going to be completing with this asks you to explain your connections. Okay, I feel like this is pretty self-explanatory, but just to give you an idea or an example of this, so it's asking us to explain one of our connections, so a term and a term. So if we look at our hexagon map, I'm going to choose horses and cows, and so I would say my first term is horses, my second term is cows. Our explanation for that, horses and cows are related there we go, right? So we're making a connection between horses and cows. Horses and cows are related to one another because they're both farm animals. And then you would do the same for connection 2 and 3, but I'm going to save some time, so I'm not going to explain those, right? So I know that my example of this is just kind of random words thrown together, but you all are going to spend the rest of your time in class today and potentially as homework if you don't finish, making connections specifically to things that we've been discussing that are currently happening in Africa, right? So things like corruption, dictatorships, food shortages, um, poverty, right? All of those things are kind of interconnected with each other, right? And so, um, what you are going to do is you are going to be taking this hexagon map. So, like I said over here, right? These are all things that are currently happening in Africa right now. And what you're going to do is you're going to drag and drop these terms. You don't have to go down the list. You can start from the bottom up. You can start in the middle of the list. It doesn't matter. But you're going to drag and drop those to create your hexagon map. Then after you do that, this is when you're going to explain some of those connections, right? If you get to this point and you're really struggling to figure out like, well, I know that refugees and IDPs are similar, but I'm not really sure how to word it. I've included some sentence starters for you on the last slide, just to help you, kind of get your mind going and how you should explain some of these connections, right? So once you're finished with all of this today, you're going to make sure that you click submit on Schoology. If you did not finish or you don't finish during class time today, it is going to be homework. Okay, so make sure you're using class time wisely. Um, Aside from this Africa hexagonal thinking activity, again, don't forget that you have a CSA on Friday. Um, I know that I'm not there. I know that I'm at jury duty right now. But we are still, as of right now, going to keep the CSA on Friday. So still, please make sure you're studying for that. You will still do a review activity tomorrow. Sadly, it won't be Jeopardy because you have to have a teacher computer to run that. But I'll think of an interesting or interactive game for you all. To study and prepare for that. Okay. If you have any questions, please email me. Like I said, I'm at jury duty, so I don't have access to my phone or my computer, so I can't respond to emails right away during the day. But when I get home from jury duty, I can check my email and respond to any questions that you have. Okay. I wish you all the best of luck and have a happy Wednesday.